Hey guys, what's up? Vicstar999 here, and as you can probably tell, we are in a new space. I recently just moved, so expect to see this new space get filled up and completed over time. But anyway, enough about that. Today we are doing a review on Phantom Hourglass. Phantom Hourglass is the second game in the adult timeline of the Zelda series, and it is a direct sequel to Wind Waker. As you guys have probably heard a billion times by now if you've been watching these reviews, I am streaming these games actively on Twitch as I play throughout them. So if you want to see me play live and get my initial reaction as things come up in the game, check out the description below. My Twitch is twitch.tv/Vicstar999_. But yeah, let's just get into it. So for the first category, we are doing controls. So this game, I believe, was intended to be played on a DS. I'm emulating all the games I don't have a console for. So with that being said, I had to play this game with just a mouse. As you guys probably could guess, the game is your DS and you have your stylus, so it's very similar, you know, you're moving your mouse around as if it were a stylus, but you also have to set up hotkeys because in parts of the game you have to close the DS, in parts of the game you have to blow into a mic. But of course my regular mic doesn't work. You need to have a special, perfect sound. So just setting up the controls was, you know, kind of different, but I'm not going to dock it due to that. Because of course it's my choice to play on an emulator rather than the initial console that it was made for and probably is perfect on. But I did think the controls were finicky even with just the easy things, you know, like rolling or doing spin attacks or things like that. I was like, these are a little finicky. So with that being said, I would give the controls on an emulator a 6 out of 10. They weren't as bad as the original status of bad controls being Skyward Sword HD on the Switch on a Pro Controller, but they were still pretty bad, so 6 out of 10. On to the next category is storyline and lore. Spoiler alert for the rest of the review because we're going to be obviously talking about the storyline and lore, so just be warned. Okay guys, this might be my official first negative review. Okay, so just buckle up, especially if you're really into this game. Just buckle up and bear with me. So with this game being a direct sequel to Wind Waker, I had a lot of hopes because when I was playing Wind Waker, I was like, what happened after Ocarina of Time that we are now here? Check out my review on my channel of Wind Waker to get more info on my thoughts on Wind Waker. But I just expected that Phantom Hourglass might answer more of those questions that I had because it's a direct sequel. Maybe they chose to make the sequel to fill in any lost bits. I don't know. That was just my hopes. With that being said, that did not happen. So this game, you start off on your island and you meet Linebeck and you have to do this ocean king. I don't even remember the name. That's how bothered I am by it. But we'll talk about that when we get to the gameplay section. I was just like, why are these islands different named than Wind Waker? Who is this Ocean King? What's going on? Why are we here? What happened to Tetra and why is she on the ghost ship? I was like, what is going on? Then, as we play the game, we meet these fairies that need to be saved. Wisdom, courage, power. Then we find out that this Ocean King is a giant whale. We also find out that the bad guy in this, his name is Bellum. Who is Bellum? Literally, the first time I heard his name, I remember just being like, as I played the games, you know, when I first heard of Vaati in Minish Cap, I was like, who is Vaati? But Vaati was in Four Swords and Four Swords Adventure. So I was like, okay, you know, he's prominent. He's not just some random bad guy that they threw in. But with this, I was like, this is probably the only game he's gonna be in. I could bet my bottom dollar that we will only see Bellum in this game and that will be it. But anyways, I understand lore-wise why Ganon couldn't be in this game or Ganondorf, but I don't know. I thought that was weird. No deduction because of Bellum. Poor Bellum. He did his best. But I just thought the game, it wasn't really needed in the timeline. I know that it's rumored that the timeline was created just to please Nintendo Zelda fans rather than this is actually the timeline that they wanted. But personally, just based on the timeline they've given us, I don't think this game was needed at all. And I don't think it really added anything or took anything away from this timeline. So with that being said, I would give the storyline and lore 6 out of 10 as well. I enjoyed the ending because there was a plot twist, which I don't want to spoil, but I might add in a clip of my face being shocked.
It's only been about 10 minutes.
I love plot twists. That's my favorite thing ever. So that's why I did get a little bit of a higher score, but I don't know. I wasn't too impressed. But the storyline itself was good and cohesive, and there wasn't really many open for interpretation areas. It was just very straightforward. I just don't think due to the lore side that this game was needed at all. On to the gameplay. Guys, this is probably the most negative you are going to see me. I have to bash on the gameplay. I'm sorry, especially if you're a big fan. I am so sorry. I didn't like the gameplay setup at all. So basically, you start the game, you go to a temple, dungeon, whatever y'all want to call it. Then you come back to this Ocean King temple. Mind you, I hate timed things. Let me just add that in there. The Ocean King temple is completely timed. So you have to get into these purple spots that are safe zones, and you have to do these time things and go down floors, right?
That's hilarious. I just got so scared. I'm just gonna go hide for now. Get me in my little corner.
With these giant things that you can't kill until the end of the game, that if they grab you, you have to restart. I was like, okay, maybe once or twice. After that, I'm gonna get really aggravated by this whole concept. Once or twice is fine, like maybe the beginning and maybe the end. That would make sense. But after every dungeon and or temple that you do, you have to come back and redo this and go deeper into the Ocean King temple. Finally, you hit the bottom, you're like, thank God this is done. And then there's like an earthquake, and then all the floors from there on out are changed. So you just have to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper.
No. Please tell me I didn't just mess that up.
Hated that. I'm gonna like be so honest. I personally was like, this is becoming a Zelda game where I feel like it's a chore to play rather than I'm really eager to play this game. I'm really getting excited to play this game later on today. I was more like, I have to do the stupid temple again. So let me just start with that. In this game, there's also that boating mechanic that was in Wind Waker. I enjoyed this boating mechanic less than Wind Waker because you draw where you want to go.
Ba, 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 ba. Over there, okay. Wee, wee, wee.
And different ships attack you, and I just thought that fighting back didn't work as well as it did in Wind Waker. The whole boating mechanic I wasn't as into as I was in Wind Waker. So I feel bad for the game that I have something to compare it to, but I just was like, meh. The temples, dungeons themselves were fine. I actually really enjoyed them. They were very straightforward. Like, it was very obvious where you needed to go, and I really enjoyed that because sometimes in temples I'm like, wait, I was just here. Do I need to backtrack? Do I need to go back to the beginning? Oh my God, I need to go, to this floor, then I need to go back to the floor I'm on, go back to that floor, a lot of like, what am I doing? I might need to pull up a guide in some of the Zelda games, but in this game, I was like, if I just go forward, I'll find the end eventually. So very straightforward, which I enjoyed. The gameplay wasn't a challenge, the mobs were easy. There's these little fish guys I didn't like. What were they called? I'll put in a picture of them. I didn't like those mobs, but other than that, the gameplay, the mobs, that was all fine. The final boss battle, once again, this is due to playing on an emulator, it was probably fine everywhere else. But during the final boss battle, you have to draw an hourglass, so a figure eight, right? So cross, down, down, down. This would not work for the life of me. So you go through however many phases, 4 phases that there are, and you have to do an hourglass on, I believe, 3 of them. It would just not work, and it would just get me so irritated. So I'm not gonna, count that towards anything. I just want to throw that out there. If you're deciding to emulate, just know that's gonna happen.
Somebody take my mouse.
And then during the boss battle, once again, just throwing this in here for grins and giggles, at the very end, the final phase, Bellum kept spinning. And if you played the game, I'll include a clip.
Nope, not fine. I'm gonna cry.
But if you've played the game, he's supposed to slash down and then the back of his eye is supposed to open and you hit the eye. But he wasn't slashing down and just kept spinning. So I couldn't get a hit. It was physically impossible to get a hit on him. And then the times where the eye did open, I couldn't draw a figure eight. It was a whole thing. But it's funny looking back now, but at the time I was like, how am I gonna beat this guy? I think it took me 17 minutes for one phase, just because of the random number generator on this boss. But in conclusion with the gameplay, I didn't hate it. overall, nor did I really enjoy it. Like, honestly, the temples and the dungeons and how straightforward they are, the only thing that's saving this review of the gameplay, because the Ocean King was annoying and nothing else really stood out to me. So with that being said, I would give the gameplay also a 6 out of 10. I know, we're on a 6 out of 10 streak today, because I didn't think it was bad, but I didn't think it was good. So that's a 5 or 6 to me, but just because the temples were straightforward, 6 out of 10. On to the last section, we are doing side quests and side characters. So the side quests and side characters were also straightforward. They were very, you know, if you run into someone, you can do it if you want, you don't have to. A side character that stuck out to me a lot was Jolene. If you've played this game and you've gone on the sea at all, you've probably met Jolene. She was sure something. She was Linebeck's potential lover. They were shipmates, you know, partners, but kind of seemed like potential lover to me. She just kept ambushing my ship and kept like fighting this little kid, you know, Link, while Linebeck hid in a box. And I was like, girl, you've got something in you to fight a kid every 10 minutes. I enjoyed the different side characters on the different regions. It was great to see Gorons again. So they were interesting to kind of get to know and be like, who are you guys? Because at first I was like, oh, they're very similar to the Yetis from Twilight Princess. But obviously it's a different timeline. But it was very interesting to talk to the different people in different regions and on different islands. I enjoyed talking to people and just seeing everyone's story. I enjoyed it. So with that being said, I would give the side quests and side characters a 7 out of 10. Nothing too special, but it was good. So in conclusion, we have a 6 out of 10 in controls on an emulator. We have a 6 out of 10 in storyline and lore. We have a 6 out of 10 in gameplay. And we have a 7 out of 10 in side quests and side characters. All that totaled up gives us a 25 out of 40, which is about a 62%, which is an F. I feel bad, to be honest, as a Zelda fan, I feel bad ranking the games poorly, but I feel like I need to be honest, and I don't want to give the game a good review just because I like Zelda games, when in reality I'm like, I wouldn't recommend this game. With that being said, I think this is my first, I don't recommend playing this Zelda game unless you're like me and trying to play chronologically or saying you want to play every Zelda game. I don't think this game added to the series, added to the lore, added to my Zelda knowledge in any way, shape, or form. And like I said earlier, I feel like most days I was like, oh, I have to finish this game, rather than I'm so excited to play this Zelda game, like all my experiences before. So with that being said, if you want to play it, totally go for it. I don't think it really added anything. I think you could definitely skip it and be okay. I'm currently playing Spirit Tracks, which is the next game in the timeline, so maybe Spirit Tracks might give a reason as to why the game was so meh. It ended in a way where it was like, okay, the game just wasn't needed then. It ended in a Narnia way to me. And if you've played the game, that might make sense, you know, a portal, and then you come back and it's like, oh my god, it's only been 10 minutes. And you're like, what? No, it's been days, weeks. And they're like, no, like, reminded me of Narnia. And now that I'm playing Spirit Tracks, people are saying it's not the same Link and Zelda. So I'm like, what was the point of that game? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my first negative Zelda review. As I mentioned, I'm playing Spirit Tracks currently, so I'm excited to get further in and see how we're on land right now. What's going on and why is it train themed? If you guys enjoyed this review and are enjoying this series, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.